Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Blanky Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at Munkushi's Luna, but specifically because I thought this game is a really good lesson in itemization and understanding your role in the match. This guy's rank, I think, is like 29 in Europe right now. Okay, it says 33 here, but on the leaderboard it says 29. A high 11k MMR. I mean, this guy's incredibly high MMR. And his build this game is a little unique, right? If you notice, it's pretty standard. But then you see a cornucopia, you're like, what is this man cooking? Buys a Lincoln Sphere. After that, he goes BKB. You're like, all right, this guy does no damage. But after that, he buys Silver Edge, another positioning item, sort of a defensive item, and finishes it off with a Butterfly, another only semi-damage item. Now, to be fair, I would say this inventory looks like semi-standard outside of the Lincolns. Like, seeing a Silver Edge, Butterfly, Manta, BKB, yeah, it's pretty normal, but it's the way he gets there. It's a Lincolns into BKB into Shadowblade, you know what I mean? Like very, very low overall damage, no satanic, but I think this all makes sense. His build makes an incredibly large amount of sense when you start to look at his matchups and you're like, okay, it makes sense why this guy's really high MMR. He's able to adapt to the situation and fulfill his needed role for the game. Even takes Enchanted Quiver, which is like not exactly the most common Luna item. I mean, it's definitely good. Just Enchanted Quiver is kind of a nuts item in a lot of games, especially if you're Dazzle. Let's get into it. All right, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the Game Leap website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken, click the link down below and sign up. All right, so in this game, the main thing, we're just going to watch him farm for a little bit, but the main thing you have to understand is he's against Terrorblade, okay? The main reason why Luna's bad against Terrorblade is because Terrorblade buys Scotty, right? It's an item that basically destroys ranged heroes. However, a big reason why Terrorblade has fallen off as a carry is Scotty no longer goes through BKB, the effects of it. As a result, heroes like Luna do better than ever against Terrorblade because they have a window of time where they won't get kited and they can actually, use their Eclipse, get off a couple of auto attacks, use their Shard, and then kite out when BKB has 2 to 1 seconds remaining. However, at the end of the day, you still have to kite the TB, and something like Satanic, one of the most common items on Luna, isn't good against Terrorblade because Scotty reduces healing, and if you don't buy BKB and you rely on Satanic to man up, you will simply lose the matchup. Okay, so let's actually see how this build plays out in teamfights so you can truly understand why he needs these items. Basically, it's his job to be able to go in, get off a couple of auto attacks, maybe a decent Eclipse, and then actually be able to kite out. If he doesn't have Lincolns, the BKB just won't really allow him to do that because Spirit Breaker will obviously ulti him. And so it's crucial that he has the Lincolns so that he cannot get bopped back into the Terrorblade because once again, you can't man up to Terrorblade. It doesn't really work. To be fair, nowadays with the Moonglaive Shard, maybe you have a chance. This shard is so broken, it gives 25% damage reduction, which by the way, he did intentionally buy this. He didn't get it from the Tormentor. So guys, please, if you got a frontline, which Luna tends to have to do, you got to buy this item. You need the items that let you frontline. This shard is just another piece of the puzzle here, right? Before Silver Edge, he picked up the shard. And so yeah, the Tusk goes in, pretty standard initiation. Tusk initiates, maybe a little bit too chat from the Tusk. Maybe the Tide should go in first. Maybe the Tusk just needs to get off his snowball. Whatever. Gets instant silenced by the Skyrat. He's going to go in here on the Luna, gets off a good Eclipse, and this is what I'm talking about. Due to the fact that he's BKB and he has Lincolns, he's now actually safe to do this. Because if he doesn't have these items, well, there's a good chance he's just going to get controlled by Spirit Breaker. Now, something I'd like to quickly add so you understand itemization in Dota, Lincolns is kind of in a weak position right now, only because Lincolns can be popped through BKB. So you got to be a little bit careful about that. An enchant from Enchantress, a Force Staff, many items, Skywrath nukes, all will break the Lincolns. And as a result, it doesn't necessarily keep you as safe as you might think. Fortunately, in this exact clip, because Tusk went in first and he went in second, many of the Skywrath spells were already used and he didn't get targeted, and as a result, the Spirit Breaker ulti didn't go off. Now, even if it did go off, because he went this itemization, specifically the BKB against Terrorblade, he is able to actually kite. You notice, yes, he is affected by Scotty, but his movement speed stays at a comfortable 407, and as a result, he can move away. With the Shard going, he also takes very minimal damage. He's also going to be protected by a Pipe and a Glimmer Cape, and this allows him to kite out. But he understands when BKB is down, this is when you lose the matchup to Terrorblade. So you use your BKB, you use your Eclipse all at the same time, hopefully at the same time as an initiator so they actually get value, so the Eclipse actually connects. And then when the BKB is ending, you kite out and you just wait for any of your initiators to go back in. This is where things get a little bit suspect, right? You just can't fight the Scotty. It gets extremely awkward. But eventually, as the fight continues to play out, he's able to get value. The main thing that honestly sells Luna for me is her level 20 talent and her shard. I'm not going to cover the shard again, but the level 20 talent is 2 Moonglaze fired on Lucent Beam. This talent is insane because at level 15, you also get Lucent Beam cooldown. So you'll notice in this clip here, right, when he's going in, he's getting kited, the Spirit Breaker is going to go back in. And this is why this hero does so much damage even without damage items. I think it also works with the Enchanted Quiver. Yeah, it certainly does. And so you'll notice this Spirit Breaker, he's not that squishy here, but eventually, with 500 HP, something Lucent Beam would never kill. 1 Lucent Beam. God, boom, 500 health. That's after resistances, right? So that's insane how much damage it does. Then with the Shadow Blade, he tries to kite out. There's obviously a sentry down. And I thought he was going to die here, but I think someone saves him. Yeah, this Necro had a greater healing Lotus and heals him. This was super Chad. The Pugna is able to get off his heal onto the Luna, and then the Necrophos. Oh, nice Decrep too to save him from the Terrorblade. Then the Necrophos feeds him a Healing Lotus. It was really impressive team synergy here. So obviously, his build enables his backliners too because he's got a Pugna. As long as you can frontline for Pugna, you're going to get value. And to be fair, he has plenty of frontliners. He has a Tidehunter. He has a Necro. Not the Necro frontlines that well in the Terrorblade. You really don't. So, once again, Luna kind of has to do the job, but yeah, able to last out the fight, just stay alive, continue to spam beams with the level 20 talent, and it looks good. Now, I will admit there's times where you definitely still want to have Satanic against Terrorblade. For instance, if your team kills the Terrorblade, yeah, it's probably a good idea to have Satanic, but whatever. Terrorblade is not a hero that naturally buys an early MKB, and so going for a butterfly route like he does here makes a lot of sense. Also, his build lacks attack speed. Like, you might be like, oh, but he's got a Manta style. It doesn't give that much attack speed, right? It's 38. And then Silver Edge gives only 35. It's pretty underwhelming, honestly. And so having an attack speed item really ups his DPS here. So he's going to go on the high ground here. Just want to talk about his gameplay, just so you guys can kind of just see the gameplay going high ground, take some lessons out of this. Goes in, the Tide's going to drop an anchor onto the Skywrath, and yeah, he's going to look to follow it up. I think at this point what they're realizing is that the enemy team is going for a split push play. This is when it's a good idea to dive. Usually I'm not a huge fan, but obviously if you see that they're committing to splitting you, then trying to get the kills on the people defending makes sense. You're trying to take advantage of the numbers advantage that you have here. And then, that one auto attack did so much damage. Honestly, the Enchanted Quiver is nice for just getting off these casual autos. They do quite a bit of damage. The beam's going to finish off the Skywrath, and that's kind of what I was talking about. Right, you see them split pushing, and you're going to take advantage of it with what you're doing. From there, just going to hit the racks. At this point, you got to wait for your initiators. You're playing Luna. Don't just waste time trying to beam someone unless they walk up. Like, he could maybe beam the Enchantress here. Decides to kite out as the Terrorblade takes the racks. Oh, I think they went back to kill the Terrorblade. Yeah, they mass TP. They actually ended up killing this guy, which is really bad that he dies. But I like what he does here, which is they actually they bait them in, right? So the Terrorblade starts getting chased by Necro and Pugna, and you would assume they're weak because it's 2 on 4, but really the only hero that threatens this Aegis Luna at all is the Terrorblade. And that's why his itemization is mainly for the Terrorblade, but you're strong, and this is just good recognition that Ravage is still up. They pop the dust, but look at this beam. The glaives start going crazy. I mean, it does so much damage as the glaives go out. Eclipse comes out too. Unfortunately, the Kunkka did have BKB and he was X'd. He should have BKB'd a little bit earlier there to prevent the X from going off. I think he would have been able to finish the kill. Oh my god, these beams just do so much damage. Because I think he goes down to Skywrath eventually here. Yeah, he goes down to the nukes. Yeah, but at this point, with the Terrorblade dead, he feels confident. Yes, he has no BKB, but he knows that these heroes just don't really do enough damage. Without Skywrath ulti, I mean, the Skywrath should go back to base. He needs to get some mana, yeah. Without the Skywrath ulti, he knows that there's basically no way he can die. I think they also have the Pugna back now, so yeah, there's no way they're going to kill him. Force Staff, Glimmer Cape, there's probably there's no pipe, but he's ready to go. And so yeah, there wasn't that many team fights in this game, but I thought it was cool that in an even match, he was able to take the role of the frontliner. And I think a lot of people just don't understand what items allow them to walk in first. When Tusk punches someone, the only person that's going to follow up and kill that person is the Luna. You might be like, oh, maybe it's the Necro. But honestly, it's hard for Necro to frontline, as I talked about. It's hard, and he was not having a super good game. Right, he was in the net worth vicinity of the other cores, and this is with him having a favorable mid matchup. So Just another reason for the Luna to go in first. And once again, I mean, this is why Luna is so good and the build makes sense. And I really want to show off the shard here and just how little damage you take when you have a butterfly and your shard active. I mean, it's incredible how survivable this Luna hero is. But look at his gameplay. Team isn't even close. I mean, Tusk isn't close. Necro's not that close. Pugna is in range because he has Blink, but he doesn't want to Blink all the way over here. That's going to get him killed. But he doesn't care. He understands that, yeah, he can kind of bait the fight. There's Megas pushing in. I think the main thing he's doing here is just like saying, hey, I don't think you guys are together. I'm just going to call your bluff. They ended up actually being together, but it didn't matter. Like, he was just fine. Right, even though this Kunkka wasn't actually totally alone, like the Terrorblade and the Enchantress were in the area, it just doesn't matter. He's way too survivable, right? Eventually, when his BKB is ending, and I like here how he doesn't immediately click the shard and the BKB at the same time. Only when the BKB is ending, and he's probably getting charged, does he click the shard. It's really good timing on the shard usage here. Basically, as the charge is coming in, he gets his W off, and so even though his BKB is ending, and this would usually be a very bad situation, as he does get ultied in, nice force staff from the Pugna to get him further out. That's really great. But yeah, I mean, he's taking no damage. This Terrorblade is tickling him, right? Absolutely tickling him, and he's able to man up here. Right, drops the Eclipse. Nice Scythe from the Necro to follow up on the Ravage Chain Stun. And yeah, beautifully done. Baits them in for his team, and it's really easy for his teammates to play the game when he does this. And I think it's why Wraith King just has a really high win rate in low MMR, because people just naturally walk in and you know, it's good. You should walk in on Wraith King. But no matter what items you buy, you're going to be tanky because of your ulti, or at least buy time. But yeah, watching this fight from the perspective of the Tide, it's easy because he has so much information. He's not getting gone on, right? He's able to, just because the Luna can kind of bait out the BKBs, she baits out this guy's BKB, she kind of forces this guy to BKB. I think the Terrorblade eventually BKBs, probably afraid of getting Ravage. Okay, actually he should have BKB'd. Ugh, that's not good. I mean, to be fair, great Ravage. But once again, it's easy for him because the Luna buys so much time and dies so slowly. The Tide has so much time that he can kite out, wait a blink, right? He waits out his blink and eventually is able to reset. I mean, that's a great play from this guy, honestly. Really good patience. Beautiful. But okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Kind of a different video, but I just wanted to talk about this itemization. I'm not saying do this every game, right? If they have no Scotty, they have no healing reduction, you should have a Satanic. If you're snowballing really, really hard, you should buy an early Satanic. It's just in this game, the game was super even. In fact, they were losing at some point, and he knows because of his matchups, it's very hard for him to actually use the Satanic and rely on that to survive. He needs a BKB. That's going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.
And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.